Se cortó la hijueta y no me había dado cuenta.
Didn't I warn you not to set foot in here until the... There's nothing you waste. You...
Yeah.
The day... Insane people addicted to drugs are Mother's problem. Am I to be held accountable for her mess? Besides, Mother is determined to ruin everything she touches. First Adrena time, then our... She never gave me a chance. Forbade it. I see no reason why she deserves a second one.
She sure as hell doesn't. But you can still give her one. That choice is on you now.
Mother never let me anywhere near R&D. I was always her incompetent little brat. You don't know that. Gorgon... Curses, Mother. And here I used to think the colony was too small for the both of us. I was so eager to make Adrena time my legacy, to give it a second chance. God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you see Mother, tell her I'm willing to work something out. She can even come over for tea. Or something stronger. I'm sure you won't mind if I remain here, just to guarantee. For your... It's fine.
leg exercises in at least.
Crawl through another HIA than work in a place like this.
You ready? Because I've been ready since you messed with us at the OCI.
This reminds me of the terraformers. Makes my skin crawl.
I'll give you one thing, little weasel. You are relentless. I did everything in my power to stop you. Yet here you stand before me, offensively alive. Just so we're clear, if you intend to restart this machine, you'll have to go through me. You think that will fool me? I'll die before I let you have this place. Then get to the fucking point. That's preposterous. Not too long ago, she wanted me dead. How do I know this isn't a trick to get me out of the way? A frightening but reasonable point. Unless your goal is not just to kill me, but to bully me first. Your intentions are beside the point. I've been working on a cure for 5 years, and I've made no progress at all. If she believes teamwork is all I've been missing, she's more soft-headed than I thought. She... what? That was our secret phrase. Did she tell you? When I've been on Gorgon too long, that's what she'd write at the end of her message. It meant she missed me. That she... I'll try. It's no guarantee of success. And like as not, it will be better. Thank you, Captain. In the end, you were not at all what I expected.
No, hijo de puta, no es que soy el capitán. Blablabla. Ese soy yo. Parceros. Mira, sapo. Digo, hola. Pequeño. Sapi! Puta vida hubiera hecho eso desde un puto principio. Era pendeja yo. ¿Dónde está?
I have to know. All those years ago, what tipped you off that Gorgon was in trouble?
The volunteers. Not just the shocking way they died, but the company's muted response to it. They were expensive to house, train, and treat. That the company would spare no expense, yet let so many of them die. It was terrible. I dare say not. Even when we made significant progress, Lawrence and his ghouls in OCI slashed our budgets. I knew then I'd lost control of Gorgon. I'd lost control of Adrenatine.
You never told me Gorgon was such a logistical nightmare. We should have had this conversation 5 years ago.
You can't know how badly I wanted to. But the truth,
I owe you an apology, Captain. Not only did I deceive...
Ay, ay. Ay, ay. Estoy solo. Solito. Solín.
Mother is less than perfect, but...
I don't doubt it was hard on you. We have the chance to know each other. Indeed. And I suspect I will be a better researcher now for having her.
Well, there's no need to dwell on the past anymore.
Partners.
This isn't at all playing out the way I imagined it. And for the first time, I'm glad.
Family is pure happenstance. Collaboration is intent, vision, fortitude. I'm glad to have you as my daughter-in-law, but I'm proud to call you my partner. But I fear things will only get harder from here. Indeed, the road to a cure will be long and fraught with setbacks. We will need to find our strength in the work, and our partnership, if we're to overcome them.
You've earned this, Captain. For recovering Mother's journal. For getting us talking in the same room together. And for exceeding my expectations.
Indeed, I have no use for bits and baubles on Gorgon. Not now that I have my work. Take what's yours, Captain. The road to a Marauder cure will be a long one, and the board will surely fight us every step of the way. But this partnership, it's a damn good start.
Will you put the burden of the colony aside for just one moment?
For you.
¿Y ya? Buena suerte.
We've reached the Hope, Captain. I'll tether us and initiate boarding protocols.
Something about waking a derelict ship puts me on edge, Captain. You know what you're doing.
Real slick.
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's more primitive processor now. Would you like me to play a mood-suitable music selection while you travel to the bridge? Oh, sorry. File not found.
Can't think of much worse than drooling on your pillow in front of a bunch of strangers.
Should we assign Sam for a cleanup?
That's it. Captain, we ought to go. Please. This place is giving me the fucking creeps.
Claro, hijo de puta con esto.
his computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him. Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. It's a rather cramped feeling, but it'll do. Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. Skipping the Hope will void the warranty on the skip drive. And also potentially kill an entire planet. How is my humor now, Captain? Improved? Wait, are you leaving me with the Hope's computer? You have no idea what it's like to converse with him. Imagine, simulate another organic jostling. I'll be ready. Are you? Jump starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2.
Oh no. Captain, don't do this. I ain't dying on a fucking ship. I'm gonna die in the dirt like we're meant to.
Doing it. Affirmative. Skipping the Hope in 3, 2, 1.
ADA, does the captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years on a derelict ship?
That's what my captain intends. Yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport. And this...
Yes, I am aware.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are a go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now. Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit. I reported as much to Phineas Wells, but he has not responded. Perhaps you should check in on him.
I hardly felt a thing.
Captain, I am receiving a Captain, I shall now play the transmission I received from Dr. Wells.
The board is here. They found me somehow. They're about to blast my door open. I can't stop them from getting me, and there isn't enough time to explain everything. But there's something very important you need to remember. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine. Do you hear me? They're fucking corporates. You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me! I'll never...
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. I presume you'll want to dock at the orbital lab to check on your associate as soon as possible. How can I be of assistance? May luck... Now arriving at Phineas's top secret orbital lab. Captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison plan, I believe the crew would like to speak with you to, as you humans put it,
Phineas, locked up in Tartarus? We cannot let this stand. That place terrifies even the most hardened criminal.
to extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course... I am programmed to...
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need a plan. We got guns.
If you really need to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business. Once you sneak into Tartarus...
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Got my trusty tossball stick. Got my ass-kicking boots.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real.
Never.
Command, not ready.
Waiting on your command.
Ah, no me rompan las bolas, vemos.
have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that... Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's dock...
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here. You are hereby confined to your docking. I wager it'll take a bit longer than it takes you to lose your faith, to be honest. Alright, I'm feeling generous. I'm transmitting the idea of a productive, law-abiding employee. Anyway, Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Wait, is that from the groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that, just have a...
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external cartridge. How can I be of assistance?
Qué idiota.
By us once. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, my dad.
Walking into a prison. They lock me up. I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out.
Getting in's one thing. Let's just hope we're able to get out again.
I have a guns.
A lot of shooting to do, Captain.
No. 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 Ah, mierda.
Let's go, troops. Stellar Base counting on us.
who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens. I'm not in your way, dullard. You talk to me. You want to go die in a blaze of glory? Be my guest. Besides, I don't know what you think you're doing here, but Sophia's doing good work up there with Phineas. Your efforts will be in vain. Oh, the look on your face. Fantastic. No, he isn't quite there yet. But that's between us. Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat did. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any...
At least that means someone's recognizing our work.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, I would. I don't know if you've noticed, Captain, but Halcyon's pretty much a lost cause. I'll admit, there's no shortage of talented scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
Listo. Hay un trato.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight!
Guess this is it, huh? Take a breath now, folks. Once we're up there, I suspect we ain't gonna have time to stop shooting.
Hecho.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. I'm afraid I can't do that. To your credit, Captain, you are one of the colony's finest specialists. Your technical abilities are beyond reproach. For all your talents, you are the enemy of Halcyon, and therefore you are my enemy. I have no intention of dying on Tartarus, Captain. Not when there's so much work. I admit I miscalculated the extent of your influence. The board's plan never accounted for you. This is a mistake I intend to correct. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set... I'm aware of your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I wish you'd simply cooperated with me. You're the finest marksman in Halcyon. You could have been my gun. If you would... This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down... And don't worry.
Mess with us.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind. And I can't begin to thank you enough. All in a day's work for you, huh? You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands.
¿Qué pasó?
Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp to worry about.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing our original home will be devastating.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? The chairman? I don't know why you let that heartless creature live. but I'll have to trust your judgment. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds.
Exciting, isn't it?
Puta, qué mala noticia.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took sublight salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater. Years later, a marauder was found in possession of his hat. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers, schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Even the Gorgon asteroid, though a distant enigma to most of Halcyon, felt the aftershocks of your actions. Olivia and Minnie Ambrose worked together to cure the marauders Adrena Time had created. Through their partnership as scientist and administrator, they discovered the harmony that had eluded them as mother and daughter, And through years of patience and effort, they discovered the means to wean Halcyon from the scourge of Adrena time. Their work eventually allowed Wells and his scientists to treat many of Halcyon's marauders. As their addiction waned, the colonists who had lived for so long under the thrall of Adrena time returned to their communities and loved ones, and joined in the effort to save Halcyon. In spite of everything, the Gorgon asteroid remained a sobering reminder of the potential for progress and disaster in humanity's most ambitious efforts. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. With the dissolution of the board, Ruth Bellamy found herself without the two constants in her life: Byzantine culture and her sister Belinda. In the face of this new reality, she struggled to find a direction for her life. The colony had moved on from Halcyon Helen and would require new heroes in the years to come. And so Ruth Bellamy decided it was time to exit stage left. She quietly disappeared from public view. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, Slug headgear became fashionable in the following years. As the board began to disintegrate, Spencer Woolrich found himself at a crossroads. Cling to what little stardom remained to him, or help usher Halcyon into its new future. To the surprise of many, perhaps himself most of all, Spencer chose the latter option. Having learned a variety of different skills in the many different roles played throughout his lengthy career, Spencer founded a radio serial dedicated to staying alive despite the odds. His subjects included how to survive violent encounters with only grazing wounds, dispense pithy one-liners for tense scenarios, and, of course, how to look good doing both. After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that the woolly cow softened Bertie's temper considerably, although the only one brave enough to say this to his face was promptly headbutted. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with
Muy bien dicho.
As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on. to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless, unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself. Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past, and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony.
Qué buen final, marica.
Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the riot on Tartarus, and partnered with Chairman Rockwell to run the colony together. As Halcyon looked toward the future, you remained a constant presence in the colony's administration. You were never weighed down by bureaucracy, and you never had to dirty your hands with politics. You had people who did that for you. By your influence, Halcyon survived the turbulent years that were to follow. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Juegazo, hijo de puta. Gracias a todos Fue una gran experiencia.